There was a time where it was really frustrating because I was working and I'd be driving home in a suit on a Friday night in my little Peugeot 106, and Annie Mac would be banging out like 2 or 3 of my records, and I'm just in my car like, someone book me, like. Back then, my product was physical. My product was a vinyl. It was a tape. Whereas nowadays, I feel like the product is me. For me, it's weird because coming into this game, there was no social media. It's a whole new job, yeah, and it's a lot of work. I always want to have fun doing this because there's no point being in this industry and not enjoying it. I've always looked at it as long as I love something and I'm excited to play it and I'm excited to share it, then that's good enough for me.
Right, welcome back to the Off the Record DJ podcast, and today is a special one, guys. Almost 300,000 monthly Spotify listeners, official UK top 20 artist, releases on Toolroom, Universal, Spinning, Defected, Ministry of Sound, played at Glastonbury, Creamfields, and is a Kiss FM resident. DJ S.K.T is in the building.
What's going on, bro? You good?
Who's take a breath then? I was like, and this. Thanks for coming down, mate.
Oh, thank you for having me,
Yeah,
man.
this was super organic. You just reached out to us. You said, love to come on. And we were like, mate.
Yeah, I really love the stuff that you lot have been doing as well.
Yeah.
Sick.
Thanks for coming up, mate. Yeah, man. When I type in DJ S.K.T into my Serato, about 100 tracks come up, right? So I think that especially DJs from the UK, but like your sort of consistency over the period of time is like insane. And there was a point where I didn't even like listen to the track, like before I played it. It was like, because you just like that trusted about the amount of tracks you've had out. So how did you start DJing first, or was you a producer first, or was it all kind of?
I started DJing first. I was
you?
always kind of fascinated with music.
Yeah.
And when I was 13, I bought my first set of decks off a PE teacher at school.
Oh, yeah.
He was like a supply teacher.
Yeah.
Bit of a nutcase, but he was like, "Oh, you can have the decks for £100."
Like belt drive.
Yeah. Sound Labs and a Citronic mixer. But and he gave me a load of old trance records at the time. And I just took it all home and just fell in love with it. And while all my mates were out playing football or just on the streets, I was in my room mixing.
Sick.
So, yeah.
Sick. And just went, got your first decks at 13. And then when did you start getting into it a bit more serious? Like,
I got my first decks, and then around the same time, probably 6 months into it, I saw an advert for the UK Under-18s Technics DMC Championships.
Oh, nice.
So I used to watch the proper adult ones.
Yeah.
I was like, I'd love to do this. Sick. So I sent in a demo tape, and I ended up getting called up.
Sick.
So I got the opportunity to play in like 3 or 4 clubs around the UK, like massive clubs, performing tricks, and after that I was like, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life.
That's so cool. Yeah. So did you enter that, and how did it go?
I came 5th in the country.
Nice.
So I did really, really well in it, and from then I was just obsessed.
Yeah. So you were more into like the technical aspect of DJing as well, like being creative and
I was fascinated with like the scratching, like beat juggling and stuff like that. I always loved, and I was just fascinated by how do you do that.
Yeah. So did you get into like the residency world then? Did you when you started DJing, were you DJing in clubs first, or did you start then producing to get yourself gigs? Or
so when I was about 15, I met this guy called Dave B, who was a massive promoter at the time.
Right.
And I was only 15, and I said to him, I DJ, like. Yeah. So he kind of entertained it and said, give me a tape, I'll have a listen.
Yeah.
And then came back to me and said, you're actually really good. I tell you what, listen, why don't you come down to my events? You can play the warm-up set the first hour. Yeah. I won't pay you, but you can have free beer all night. And I was like, sweet. So that was really cool, because I got to play alongside like some of the big old school garage DJs that were really.
It's in London as well.
At the time. Yeah, London. Yeah. And I used to fly for him as well.
Yeah.
So I used to fly and just get paid in free drinks.
Yeah.
But it was that, and I think there's definitely, I really appreciate having that warm up set as well to get a night going, because it's such a different thing from a main headline set.
Yeah.
So it gave me the opportunity to play out, and then I was like, wouldn't it be cool if I could make my own music and play it to these people?
Yeah.
So at 16, I put out my first records, started playing that, and then I literally found an advert in. Do you remember Rewind magazine?
Rewind mag, yeah.
So I found an advert there for like, press your vinyl, £500 for 500.
Oh right.
So I was like, yeah, cool. Went down to Wembley on my mopeds and ended up cutting. It was a remix kind of. Unsolicited,
some random
bootleg white
label thing.
But I literally got 500 press, and I just went round on my moped to all the shops in London and just said, "Hey, I've made a record."
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What did you make the record on? What were you producing on initially?
Back then it would have been Cubase.
Cubase, yeah. I remember learning on that. Yeah.
So I spent a year on Cubase, and then I jumped to Logic 7 when it went exclusive with Apple. Yeah.
So how many like club gigs were you doing at this time? Was it just the one for?
It was just a weekend. So at the time, at 16, I was studying. I was studying music technology and management at Westminster Kingsway, like 4 days a week, and then I was working for Orange, the mobile phone company, for 2 days a week, and that was really fun as well.
So you study music as well?
Yeah.
Sick. That must have helped big time. So then around that sort of age, like 18, going a bit older, 18, 19, were you just like did it just take over? You're like producing like constantly, just pressing vinyl and...
Yeah, well, I ended up after I think it was like the second vinyl I put out, I got a call from... one of the record shops that said, "Hey, listen, one of our distributors has heard your stuff and really likes it. Can I give him your number?" So I said, "Yeah, cool."
Nice.
And it ended up being a guy called Sammy B, who looks after very close with all the Boy Better Knows, Skepta.
Right.
And he was distributing all the Boy Better Knows stuff, all the Wiley mixtapes, all of those guys. So it was a really exciting time because all of those guys were blowing up as well. And so he just said, "Yeah, look, give me the records. I'll go and do the work. I'll take £1 per record."
Really?
And then I ended up getting in all the shops. So up north and Scotland and places like that. And then from that, BBC One Extra used to do like a chart for vinyl chart.
Oh, right, did they? Yeah, nice. Yeah.
Every week where they'd go around to all the stores and basically say, "Give us a chart of your top 10 best-selling records." And ended up... couple of things I did ended up getting in the One Extra like vinyl sales chart for the UK and stuff like that. So it just kind of got bigger and bigger.
Was it? Yeah. Was it that S.K.T Worst of Love vinyl there?
Yeah, that did really well.
Yeah, we noticed that because in around where we are, like in the UK, like the sort of bassline scene, organ house bassline scene has always been super like popular, heavy. I remember like hearing this track out all the time, and I could never figure out what it was. And I went into the booth with this guy called Danny Bond, who's a big DJ. I was looking at him a lot. I was like, "What is this tune?" He's like, "Oh, S.K.T Worst of Love." And ever since then, that's why I've been like following like your stuff and like your productions and stuff.
Sick.
Amazing. So at the time when you were getting sort of this recognition, then were you just more focused on sort of DJing or producing, or were you getting more and more club gigs off the back of it, or was your
I think I kind of fell in love with the producing, because for me to be able to see people react to something you've made, and at the time as well, they wouldn't know that it's my track. So it was almost like an inside joke where I'd play something. But then even to have other DJs be like, "Oh, what's this? I haven't heard this." And it's kind of like, "Oh, yes, cool." So it was exciting, and I loved both. They kind of went hand in hand. I think I went through periods where I'd be really obsessed with DJing, and then I'd be really obsessed with producing and not want to talk to anyone and just make music.
You were saying, we just had some lunch. You were saying like you were playing like in London where like all like the UK rappers would come and like wanted to spit bars on your house sets and stuff like that. That's sick.
Yeah. We used to do like Opera House in Tottenham and Rudolph's in Tottenham, and they all used to come down.
Did they?
And it was because I guess back then it was such a small scene, in a sense, you know.
Fast forward a bit further, and so you've been producing quite a while and started getting a bit of recognition. Was it, obviously your track sort of Take Me Away was like crazy, went like UK top 20 and just had like 50 million streams or something like that. Was that like, did that like take you to like the next level basically? Was it like, I mean, how did that come about?
At the time I had like loads of remixes out. I was doing loads of really cool stuff, and there was a time where it was really frustrating because I was working and I'd be driving home in a suit on a Friday night in my little Peugeot 106 and Annie Mac would be banging out like 2 or 3 of my records.
Really?
I'm just in my car,
and
like
you still got a day job.
Yeah,
really,
and I'm
that's
like,
crazy.
someone booked me, like,
yeah.
So yeah, that was really crazy. And then Defected hit me up, and they were like, oh, you know, come in, we'd love to. Andy Daniel at Defected was like, we'd love to hear some stuff.
Really?
So I kind of went in there, and at the time I had all these cool rollers, like really heavy, chunky.
There was a sound, wasn't there, for like 2 or 3 years? That kind of like bassy house, like deep house. Yeah, like you say, rollers.
Well, it was kind of like for me, it was like very early tech house.
Yeah.
It was the start of this kind of sound
Yeah.
that kind of moved away from the slightly more donkey bassline stuff.
Yeah.
And I just remember going in and I played them like 6 records, and I was like, yeah, they're gonna love it. So, like, listen to the automation and the filters, and they just kind of looked at me like, yeah, these are good. And they're like, you got anything else?
All right.
I was like, well, I've got this one track, but I said, it's not Defected. Like, it's not your sounds.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think. They're like, play it.
Right.
So I played it. It was Take Me Away.
Was it?
And after 30 seconds, they just went, yeah, well, this is the one.
That's so funny. That's crazy.
Yeah, and I remember it was really funny. The first, they sent out all the promos, and then probably about 10 days later, they called my management. And they said, oh, we need you to come in for a meeting. So we were like, what's going on? And they were all really, really serious, kind of looking at us.
Yep.
And then they were like, yeah, look at the feedback.
Oh, right,
and
nice.
even they were like, whoa.
Love that. So you'd had management prior to this then as well. So
it wasn't
doing sort of.
Basically, at 21, I set up a record label, and it was basically just to be able to put out music for like me. And at the time, the whole vinyl thing was dying out.
Yeah.
So the record stores were kind of shutting down. So I needed to find a way of getting the MP3s out there. Spotify had just kind of come about, Apple Music, but it was all very, very new. So I ended up calling a random digital distributor I found online, like Sell Your Music. And it happened to be Dom Curley at Labelworks.
Nice.
Who's now they're massive. But at the time, it was like, I think he was in his kitchen or something.
Yeah.
I was in my bedroom and we were both like, oh, hey. But loads of my friends would ask me, or other producers I knew would be like, oh, we've got something. Like, can you put it out for us? And so I started building like a mailing list. And through that, I was working some other stuff as well, like R&B, hip hop, like UK urban stuff.
Yep.
So a lot of that was going through radio pluggers. And I just got on really well with the radio plugger promotion guy, and just said, oh, I've been making some beats, like some house stuff. Yeah. It was like, oh, let me hear. And I think the one that I did was Samore, I Refuse.
Oh, yeah.
It was a remix of that.
Yeah.
And he was like, this is really good. He said, I'll tell you what, I'll send this out.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, okay, like, cheers. And then from that, loads of DJs, like radio DJs, just started jumping on, because the sound was so new and kind of fresh, I guess. Like, just everyone just started jumping on it. And at the time, house was just going, like, everyone was getting into house, you know, at this time where I was kind of going up as well. So it was a really nice time where it just felt like everything was going crazy. Yeah.
When you get like a deal with like Defected or one of the big labels, then how do they position it? So they've got the feedback, it's doing really well. Do they then like offer you the deal, or how does it play out?
We signed the track initially to Defected. And then as it started blowing up, obviously, like, all the major labels came in and were like, hey. Hello. And Defected were really good. And they just said to me, look, it's completely your choice. You go with whoever you feel comfortable with. And ended up signing it to Atlantic. And, yeah, those guys did an amazing job.
Crazy.
Yeah. But, yeah, it was a really cool, just the whole thing. Because for me, I never really expect stuff like that to happen. For me, as long as I can make people move or change how they were before they've heard something, then that's a victory to me. Do you know what I mean? 100%. So like anything more than that, I see as a bonus. Yeah.
So after that comes out and it blows up, does the phone start ringing for like guest bookings and DJ bookings then, or
Well, the funny thing is, at the time I was going out for about £250 a gig, and then obviously this exploded. So then my agent could suddenly push up my fee, but my diary was pretty full for like the next 3-4 months from bookings.
From that, yeah.
So yeah, it was a funny time because I was going out for nothing, but,
but
it was all these massive kind of parties and stuff.
But I think it's quite a good thing because obviously you came up doing DJ and you're quite a technical DJ. I think a lot of producers, if they get a track that blows up and they've never DJed before, and they get booked for a DJ set and they turn up and they don't know how to do it, right? It's like,
but I used to love that because once that kind of blew up and I was doing like the main stages at Creamfields and V Festival, I'd look at the artists on the lineup and think,
I've got this.
Great. Because they can't DJ. So, and sometimes it would be really flat.
Tough,
and then flat for them. And then I'd be like, all right, cool. I know what to do.
But I exact same thing, like it being like in residence and stuff, you'll get like somebody who's had a track and they'll play their track and then after that they've got nothing. You're like, when I go back on, he's going off. That's amazing. So like fast forward a bit from there, like you've had like you work with like all the big brands and labels and stuff like that, and then you've managed to get into sort of the radio industry as well, which I think is a great topic to talk about because we've not really had someone of like your level talk about the sort of radio situation. So you're on Kiss FM at the minute now and you've been there for 5-6 years, did you say? Something like
6-7 years.
Yeah. How does that come about?
They literally reached out to my management. So I used to do pirate radio for years. I did I did Sub Jam FM, which used to be called Time FM. Okay. Some of the really big ones in London through the guy Dave, who was a promoter. He had a show, and obviously back then pirate was massive. Huge. And even stuff like Worst to Love, that was massive on pirate, and lived in that whole
space.
Kind of world. And I think obviously Kiss started as a pirate station as well. Back in the day, so they reached out and said, "Oh, do you want to come in and record a demo?" Came in, recorded a demo. They were like, "Yeah, we want to give you a show." Amazing. And it was like, "Wow, okay, cool." This is surreal. Yeah.
How does putting a radio show like happen? I spoke to you just off air. Then there's a few people involved in it, but I guess it allows you to sort of stay in touch with music and keep your head in that game as well. So how does curating a stage? So you do once a week, right? Your show. How does it come about? How many people are involved? Like, what is the process of putting like a radio show on?
It's a 2-hour show. I get probably thousands of promos through a week, and use a couple of different sites like InFlight, and obviously all the pluggers just batter my email with stuff. So I find it really good because I can see exactly what's going on. I'm across everything, and I get to be on top of new music. So a lot of the time, even when I get to play out, I'm playing stuff that no one else has got, or the new track from so and so that's forthcoming. It's great in that sense.
Yeah. What happens? Like, what's the mechanics of a radio? So you said there's a few people that work in there with you that help you put it together.
Yeah.
How does it work from like a working standpoint?
So I've got my radio producer and then a friend who's like a kind of assistant that helps with the show as well. Nice. So during most of the summer we've got to pre-record just because the schedule was so mad, which is good fun. And then if I do live, we'll do live as much as possible. Yeah. And that's fun. I enjoy the
buzz,
the buzz,
because you're a DJ.
It
doesn't phase you that much. It's just
it doesn't, and for some reason I like working under pressure. Like the more pressure, the more it buzzes me.
Of course, 100%. Actually, I want to talk about your sort of like level of output. Like I said at the beginning of the show, like so many tracks I've got of yours, and you just seem to be putting out stuff all the time, constantly. What's like a sort of a typical sort of like working like week or a month for someone like yourself who is, you know, reliant on producing and making tunes? And how does that work? Are you making like a track a week, a track a day? Like and how has that progressed over?
Usually I'm in the studio most of the weeks. So I'll do sessions with other artists. Sure. So I'll do the songwriting and production for other artists and like pop stuff as well, which is good fun, and I really enjoy doing it. And then with my own stuff, just when I feel like it, which is, like I said, I'm usually in the studio every day, but that's almost like my home. Yeah. So some days I might just go in there and mess about with some bass lines and just create patches and be like, cool, those are nice, you know? So I tend to just be comfortable in that environment, and then I just let the music kind of come out whenever it does.
Is that what it is? So no pressure. And that's changed and evolved over the years? Was there a time where you're like, I have to get this out or this out, or has it always been a bit more play?
Yeah, I think I think with lockdown there was definitely a lot more pressure, and then it's kind of like, shit, what do I do? You know, and I think everyone felt that
100%.
You know, so
do most of your ideas come like most producers say all the best ideas like come quicker, like when they're in there and it's something just happens, you like and you roll with it. Is that you have the same?
Yeah, I was speaking to a producer about this the other day, because it's all the stuff that I put so much time into and like the automation and the EQ, and it goes over people's heads. Yeah. And then I'll play something that I've made, it took me 15 minutes to make, and they're like, yeah, that's it.
It's so funny.
I'm like,
yeah.
So yeah, it is frustrating sometimes.
Yeah, but you can't. What happens. It's like being creative. We were saying this the other day, like because we do so many aspects of this business. Like when we're down here, we've got to like put a tutorial out or a mix out, and you feel like you rush because you've got so much other things to do. Like you can't force creativity, can you?
Yeah,
it almost has to be like, I'm not doing anything today apart from being.
I think the worst is when you start feeling that pressure or putting that pressure on yourself. Yeah, that's when you can get really lost.
For sure, yeah. Your live DJ sets, and you've done a crazy summer, Ibiza, Zantimalia, all the party islands and stuff. What's your DJ set like now, and how has it evolved? So you said you get loads of promos and stuff. So are you playing a bit of your own stuff, bit of promo stuff, or how have your sets evolved as well over time?
Playing a lot of like exclusive stuff and stuff that I get from artists that are kind of unknown. And then depends on the venue as well. A lot of the Ibiza stuff and a lot of the summer stuff, the island stuff is kind of big energy, hour, go in, kill it as hard as you can.
Yeah.
Whereas then there'll be the other more late 2, 3, 4 a.m. sets where I can just go really in.
Yeah.
And for me, it's just all about the rhythm and nothing else, you know, and just, so yeah, it just depends where I'm playing, but I've been DJing now for like 15 years. So
experience.
Yeah. Like I could play for 6 hours across all types of house and garage almost, you know, and I love it all.
Yeah, absolutely love it. Anything, I'll play anything to anyone right now.
Whoever wants to listen.
When you started like blowing up, when Take Me Away was coming out and all that kind of, how did you decide on, you know, what point do you need like a manager and an agency, and I guess people would want to know, at what point will people start reaching out to you, and what do you need help, and do you have like a full-time photographer? Did you socials and stuff like that? How has it sort of evolved over time for you?
You know what, I'd say never. I don't want to, in a way, I think if you reach out to people, it makes them less like attracted.
Yeah.
A bit
less
like
credible.
Girls or relationships.
Yeah. Bit needy.
Yeah. So like people are always watching, you know, so if you're smashing it, people are going to start paying attention. Yeah. What was your question?
So you've got a management on board, an agency now.
Yeah.
When did that start to happen?
So the radio plugger that I was that kind of put out my tracks for free and was just because he said, look, you know, a lot of people are getting into this music, so it's a good look for me to be putting this stuff out. So it's kind of mutually beneficial. And then I started getting loads of calls, and he started getting calls where it was just a natural progression where it was like, bro, you might as well manage me because you started all this shit.
Love that.
This is all your fault. So
I think a lot of people think it's kind of like easy when you'll have a track that blows up, or you'll do something, people just think the phone's going to blow up, but you've got to just keep consistent with it, haven't you? Do you do all your own socials, or have you got a cameraman, or do you take a cameraman to some of them, or at the minute?
At the moment, I've got a really good videographer that basically just rolls with me and films everything. And then I just leave it up to him to clip like whatever's good. And they might be like live DJ clips or kind of more behind the scenes stuff. Like for me, it's weird because coming into this game, there was no social media. Yeah. Really, there was no... So even going back to old gigs, if I look at video footage, it's off like an iPhone 3.
Blurry.
Yeah, and it's so there wasn't the aspect of social media marketing, and back then my product was physical. My product was a vinyl. It was a tape.
Yeah,
it was. Whereas nowadays, I feel like the product is me.
Yeah,
do you see what I mean?
Yeah, so it's super important.
Yeah, so
and you've got to sort of keep up with the times and keep up with what's changing, trending, all that kind of thing. It's like another job in itself.
It
right?
is. Yeah. It's a whole. It's a whole new job, yeah, and it's a lot of work.
Yeah, and obviously that'll play out into, you got a new track coming out, which we'll talk about in a sec.
Yeah.
Well, that'll play out into what's changed over time is when you release a track, like you say, you used to pay somebody £500 to print 500 vinyl. They're going to vinyl shop. So now social media will be sort of 99% of how you promote a new track, right?
Oh, yeah.
So how does that play out now? You've got a new track coming out. What's the process of being like, right, we've got a track coming out in 2 months. How do you promote it? How do you go about making a plan for that?
You know what, myself personally, I'd say I'm not the best at that stuff.
Right.
So we'll try and gather as much content of me playing the record or anything that kind of looks good that we can use as promotion. But I'd still like to believe that regardless of all the hype and all the social media stuff, that a good record is just going to connect with people. Do you know what I mean? So I don't put too much pressure on to trying to, hey, you know, it's out there, and I just I always feel if it's good enough, people are going to hear it, play it, you know?
How do you decide what's good enough? You
must
have a load of tracks, right?
I do, yeah. Just from playing stuff out. And seeing what the response is, what the energy's like from the crowd, if there's like a big moment from the track. So I think that gives you the best indication, because if the thing is as well, if you can move people in real life, you're going to move them online as well.
100%. And when you're sort of making a record, deciding on what the record is going to be, it's like, I want this one. Do you self-release it? How does this work with like you working with other labels? How does it work now? You've got obviously a great name in the industry. It must be easier to get in touch with these people. How does that process work?
I'll reach out to, if I've made something and then I'll be like, oh, this sounds like it's good for Toolroom or stuff like that. Then I'll hit them up and be like, oh, hey, I got this record. What'd you guys think? So a lot of the time I just hit them up, or often labels will just get in contact with me. Yeah. And, but I don't know why, for some reason at the moment, I'm being very picky about what I put out, and I'm working on like a lot of really cool stuff. So, Does your sound, it's just your sound has changed, and obviously I think most people's will over time. How do you decide what you're kind of going to make? Do you have a specific, like, okay, like I'm into tech house, I'm just going to make tech house, or is it just like a feeling? It's more of a feeling.
Is it? It's not like a business decision where you're like, oh, tech house is popular. Like,
you know what? I've never looked at music like that. No. And even when I got into music, I was kind of like, I always want to have fun doing this, because there's no point being in this industry and not enjoying it.
Yeah.
So I've always looked at it as long as I love something and I'm excited to play it and I'm excited to share it, then that's good enough for me. And then however well that does, it's just that. It's
just down to it. We were saying, what we are like, it's a good thing now with social media and things like that is, you know, you can go out, test a track, clip it up and then put it out online, and it's almost like a bit of a market research.
Yeah.
Something that Chapter and Verse was saying a few weeks ago. It's like you go out, you test it. If it works, like you say, if it works in real life, then
it's a great platform as well to even put up 5 clips and see from those 5 clips what everyone's engaged with, what everyone likes, and that can help you determine, all right, I'm going to put that out next because everyone's going mad. So that's a really cool tool that I never had.
It's so easy. It's like so much fun. What about this year then? So I was looking at your socials earlier this week, and you've done like the Party Islands, Ibiza, Mali, Zante. Like, what other like standout shows you've done this year? Like that. You were saying Ibiza Rocks was really fun this year. You went out there a couple of times.
Did that with Love Juice and supporting Joel Corey as well, which was really fun.
Nice.
And then O Beach, which is always just such a fun day.
Looks sick.
It's just so fun.
Yeah, I've only been there once, but it was like
it's just the vibe there is just. Some people say it can be a bit pretentious, but
it has that vibe. But
I kind of just laugh at all that stuff.
Yeah.
So if I see that, it amuses me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so I don't take it too seriously, but that was good fun. And then did some wicked shows out in Amsterdam. Did Delta Festival in Marseille in France for the first
really?
time.
Nice. I've heard about this.
Yeah, that was really cool.
Yeah.
Where else?
Yeah. You said you're going to Amsterdam this week. For at the time of recording, AD this week. What are you doing out there?
I'm doing some of the panel stuff,
nice.
Like conference stuff. And then just loads of meetings. And I love AD because it's one time every year I just get to see everyone in the music industry and also meet new people, new artists and stuff like that as well.
I was going to touch on networking because you, obviously over the years, you've collaborated with loads of big artists and obviously DJs, and you're obviously well known in the scene. How is networking something that's always come sort of natural to you, or is it like a skill you just develop over time, or because you're in touch with all the kind of biggest artists, some of the biggest DJs in the world and stuff like that? Are you quite comfortable networking? And
you know what it is? If I'm genuinely interested in people, then I want to talk to them, and I want to be like, how did you do this? How did this happen? And and I think
curious.
Those kind of creative people are all the same. We love to nerd out on different stuff. Big so time.
You walked in here, you're like, these podcast mics. What's this button do? What does this button do? But just being curious, I guess.
Yeah, so I think, because the thing is, I think if you're trying to do it for any reason to make money, then it becomes fake.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And you're talking to someone that you might not really like, or just for the sake of it. And I just can't do that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So if I genuinely am fascinated by someone, but I always try and be friendly as well. Don't be
a dick. We'll talk a bit more about the music production side. Something that we get asked a lot, like a lot of beginner producers and things like that, is when people are like reaching out to you for like a official remix or something like that. How does that happen? How does the people be like, does the artist come in, or do they just send you the vocals? Do they send you the parts? How does it work, like on a basic level? Yeah,
most of the time it'll just be like the labels, major labels will hit up me or management and just say, hey, we've got this track coming out. We're looking for remixes. Are you interested? And then sometimes I'll say yes straight away. Yeah. Sometimes I'll actually say, look, I want to do it on spec.
Right.
Send me all the parts. Let me do it, and then if I like it, you can have it. If not, no.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it probably works against me because sometimes I turn down a lot of money for stuff.
Just because it's not.
I just feel like it's not there.
It's not for you.
Or I don't personally connect with it.
Yeah.
So.
And you think that's just something that, like, as your name's got bigger, you can be a bit more selective because it's more important.
You know what? I think it's just the way that I operate, because there's loads of other people that don't, and they'll just jump on anything. It's just for me, it's got to be about the art, and like I have to love it.
Yeah.
If I don't, and I'm putting the money first, I just feel like that's not a recipe for success.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And at 100%. Some point, you're just gonna. Sell your soul.
100%. But I think it's probably the reason you've had such longevity, and it's like you're sticking true to what you like, and as long as you can be happy with the stuff you're putting out, and you've not just done like a money grab or something like that, then you can be happy with it, right?
Yeah, of course. Like for me, I feel like over the last couple of years, I've just been on the pursuit of. I've gone down a bit of a rabbit hole with like songwriting and like melodies and top lines, and kind of gone a bit away where all the clubs closed from more of the club based stuff where I was. So coming into next year, there's a lot of stuff that I'm releasing that has this really cool middle ground that I feel like I've almost been trying to find for a while as well.
Yeah. And like you said, that just comes with like the evolution of your sound and trying to like do something different, or just keep progressing, keeping it like new for you as well, like fresh.
Of course,
because you can get labeled with a certain type of genre, can't you? And
I'd just be bored as well, doing the same kind of thing over and over again.
Yeah.
So like for me, I always want to try something new, or how can I make this bigger or better?
Yeah.
You've
got your own label.
Yeah.
What happens when you decide to have your own label, and you have this different hat on, and then are you out there now trying to find producers and singers and songwriters, and how does that work? As
we've got like got a demo drop online, so we get loads of demos. I've got good relationships with quite a lot of like kind of young upcoming producers. We've had some sick people on the label as well. We've had like Frankie Wah, Jess Bays, Space Jump, and a few other people that have gone on to sign to massive labels or major labels and have done really big things. So it's great, because I remember how hard it was for me at the beginning to try and get stuff played. So to be able to, and I know how exciting it was to be able to be like, oh my God, I'm on Radio 1. So like to be able to give that to like 21, 22-year-old kids now, and to see their excitement, like I know how much that means. So to be able to kind of give that back and help other artists build that are younger, I really enjoy.
Sick. How's the process work then? So I'm a producer, up and coming. I'll drop you a demo. You like it? What happens?
I'll sign it.
You sign it, you put it out, distribute it all over the world, and
we got like promo companies that will do the distribution and stuff like that as well. So you know, we put a lot of effort into the tracks, and I think we've built a really, really good platform over the last couple of years with it as well.
Do you help like nurture the tracks, or are you just are you there just for done tracks? You know, if the track comes through, you're like, I like this, but I could do.
If something grabs me and I'm like, oh my god, this could be really sick, but do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And usually it's just a lot of the time it's more, for me, it's to do with the arrangement.
Right.
Do you see what I mean? Yep. So maybe they're going too fast. It's like, well, slow down for a minute, or give this track some room to breathe, or, you know. So yeah, I help as much as I can with that kind of stuff.
And you're as well, I assumed, like actively looking for like up and coming artists as well.
Yeah,
like,
always.
If I see something, you're like, oh yeah, this is it.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah, like you say, to be able to give back on that is just like, must be so rewarding, especially when you see it come to fruition. And
of course.
That. Right, mate, we're going to break it up. We're going to play a little game. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Right, mate. This is the Crossfader Chart Challenge. We've stuck with this game for a few weeks now. We went through a phase of changing the game we did every week, and we've got too much to do. Crossfader Chart Challenge. You've got 7 spaces in your chart, and I'm going to play songs in random order. Once they enter the chart, they could not be moved. Right? So if a track goes in at number 4, it has to stay at number 4, but you don't know what's coming. They're all your tracks from Spotify.
Okay.
All right?
Yeah.
So once you place one in a chart position, it can't be moved. All right? So you've got 7 spaces.
Mm-hmm.
So if you put a track at number 4, it has to stay at number 4.
Okay.
All right, but you're not going to know what's coming. All right?
Right.
Right, so you got 7 spaces. First track, I'm going to go with this. It's one of my favourites, you know.
Oh, wicked.
Yeah, I love this tune. This is what you talk about, that more like anthemic sound. Yeah. You know
yes, this was like one of the first tracks I did at lockdown, where it was like club, but then also like big vocal, and obviously like Gemma Cook's insane, like an amazing songwriter. So even for me to be able to be in the room with her, co-write the song with her, and produce it is amazing.
Yeah, how does that work with sessions with artists? It's very much a collaboration process, and you'll find someone or reach out and you just hit the studio.
Sometimes I'll literally sit there and I'll play a beat for like, I'll make a beat for like 3 hours, and the singer will just be behind me. I'm like, give me 1 more minute, which is really bad.
But you know,
at the end of the process, but I know halfway through it, some of the people are thinking like, what is this guy doing? He's just been playing the same
just a kick drum.
Yeah.
Right, what number's that going to go in your chart? You got 1 to 7.
What's the chart based on?
Number 1's
my favourite.
Yeah.
Okay.
7's the worst. So you got 1 to 7.
I'm gonna put that at 4.
Number 4. That is S.K.T. Boomerang, by the way. Yeah, number 4. Right, I'll put that in number 4. Right, next track is this. We were laughing, weren't we? Because we were talking about R&B vocals earlier. This is
as well, that took me about 15 minutes. That came together so quickly. So that's why I laughed as well.
Yeah, because it's quick.
I didn't expect it to go as crazy as it went. Because to me, it was just like a remix I was playing in my sets.
All right.
That was kind of going off. And I was like, oh, I should put this out on my label.
Yeah. So he came out on your label,
Yeah, and then we chucked it out, and it got to number 2 overall on Beatport. And we
Hello.
Whoa, okay.
I'll take that.
Yeah, so.
Nice. Where's that going in your chart?
Hello. I'm going to have to go 2.
You're going to go 2?
Yeah.
Oh, hello. Okay, right. I'm going to go next one. Let's go with this one. I used to play this out all the time.
Oh, wicked.
Yeah, all the time. Just because you can kind of play it anywhere. Do you know what I mean?
It's funny because I remember when I made this, I made it in my bedroom.
All right.
And my manager was sitting on my bed.
Yeah.
I just had this loop going on for ages.
Yeah.
And he didn't like it at the time.
Yeah.
He probably didn't like it. And so it threw me off because I was like, but then I started playing it out. I was just like, wow.
Yeah.
I remember playing this at Creamfields before it was released.
Oh, really?
Like main stage. And
just
went insane.
Tore the roof off.
And what we were going to do actually on this, we was going to put this out as a free download.
Oh, right, yeah.
So my manager said, oh, I'll tell you what, before you put it out as a free download, let me send it to Annie Mac and a few of the other DJs, and just to see if they want to play it or give it some love. And so I had a gig in Dubai, so I flew to Dubai the next day, and I remember sitting there about 8 o'clock or something. My manager texts me, he's like, yo, I need to speak to you. Rang, he goes, guess what? I'm like, what? So Annie's just got back to me. She wants to make Poison the hottest record in the world tonight.
Oh.
I was like, what?
That is a big deal as well. Like,
yeah. At the time, it was huge.
It was like the biggest, whatever she said at that time. Was
and then
golden.
that happened on like the Friday, Saturday, her show went out. And then literally Monday, every single label, our phones was just going crazy.
I love that story, mate. I remember when I played, like I said, I think I've played it out with so many different genres because it kind of just fits anywhere. It's not too in your face aggressive, like drop, and it's like everyone knows the Vogue, the sample. Right, well, you're going to put that in your chart. You've got 1, 3, 5, 6, and 7. These are just your personal. These are just your personal favorites, basically.
I'm going to say 2.
You put Ballers at 2.
Oh,
this is where it gets dicey. This game, you're going to put that at 3. Poison, amazing. Yeah, that is Poison. So let's go with... Oh, I love this tune as well, by the way. This is the new one.
Oh, yeah.
This is the new one. Constellation. This is that big sound you're talking about now. It's a bit more anthemic kind of vibes, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's very vocal. Not led, but just very vocal.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to take a minute just to get back to some of the more earlier club stuff I was doing.
Yeah. Cool. Where's Constellation going to go? I love that too. It's like, because it's so cold here right now. I'm like, it feels like summer. It feels like summer now. I'm like, where's it gone?
It's wicked. I've been playing this out as well, like all summer.
Yeah.
And like for a track that's a full vocal that no one knows.
Yeah.
Went down sick.
Oh yeah, this is very much like Ibiza Rocks. Like,
yeah.
Oh shit, beach kind of daytime.
Yeah.
Sick. Where are you going? Where are you going with this? You've got.
I'm gonna put that at 6.
6. Cool. Right, let's go next one. Oh, I've lost my thing. Here we go. Let's go with this. Yeah, you know it from the drum beat. So this was a big one.
Yeah.
Take Me Away, we were talking about earlier.
See, this is more what I mean with the production being a lot more clubby.
Yes.
Which is something that I want to get back to because I've really missed that.
Did you make this is the bootleg first and it got re-sung? Or was it just always original?
I had a different version of Take Me Away that was more similar to the original.
Yeah.
And then I was working with DJ Ray.
Yeah.
I think we went round and we were working on something. I said, just as I was leaving, I said, by the way, I got this sick idea. I'm working on this track. Can you re-sing it for me? And she was like, yeah, cool, I'll do it. I'll fling you over the vocal. So I think the following week I woke up on a Sunday and I remember I played a massive gig on Saturday night and I woke up at like midday. I checked my emails and Ray'd, hey, here's the vocal. I remember sitting in bed and like my setup was kind of next to my bed anyway. And I was like, fuck it, like let's just try something.
Yeah.
And I just felt so inspired from the gigs over the weekend and stuff that literally I remember just kind of getting the vocal and then having the bong, 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 bong.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is really cool.
Hello.
And then I probably I had that on loop for probably about 2-3 hours of it's just a party. Now, boom. I was like, yeah.
That's it.
This is sick. Yeah. And what's nice about that record as well is I mixed it myself as well.
Yeah, nice.
So it was only a master that was done. So for a record that I think it got to number 11 in the national charts, I'm really proud of the fact that I made the whole thing, but then also mixed it as well.
Love that, mate.
And the mix sounds really good even now.
Where's Take Me Away going to go on your chart?
It's got to go 1.
There we go. I wonder if you were going to save a little bit. Take Me Away, number 1. Right, you've got 5 and 7 left. Let's do this one. Call on Me.
Yes.
How did this track come about?
This came about with Leo Stannards, who's a wicked artist, got an amazing voice, and I think we just hit each other up and was like, let's jump in the studio, and we recorded the vocal and like all the keys and stuff kind of in session, and then I took it home, and then over the next couple of days just did all the other production on it.
Love that. Where's that going to go, mate? You got 5 and 7.
You know what? I'm going to throw that at 7 just because I want to see what else there is.
Yeah. So that was Call on Me. Right. Last one, which is a classic.
Oh.
So this is really just for me because this is like, I used to play this all the time. Anybody from the UK knows this vocal, whether it's your version or the original.
Yeah.
Right Before My Eyes, S.K.T. Obviously inspired by the garage track.
Yeah.
Right Before My Eyes. What a banger. Was this a time where you were just like getting inspired by garage and other?
You know what I did at that time? I slowed down my production from 135 to 125.
Oh, okay.
I didn't change anything else.
Yeah.
So it kind of just went from fast bass line to house.
Yeah.
In a sense.
And you could tell that. You can tell that.
Because it still had a lot of swing and like a lot of the garage elements in there.
Yep.
But I guess garage was going through like a hard time. It was getting such a bad name.
Bad rep in the clubs.
Yeah.
Couldn't have any garage parties anywhere, could you?
Yeah. So it was kind of like, I still want to make garage, but I'm just going to disguise it slightly.
100%. Right, mate. That's your chart. So it's 7, Call on Me, 6, Constellation, 5, Right Before My Eyes, 4, Boomerang, 3, Poison, 2, Ballers, 1, what was 1? Take Me Away. Sorry, yeah. Happy with that?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, we play that game and like everyone always gets stressed at the end. Like, people usually have 1 and 7 left, and you're like, that's risky. Nice. And I loved hearing about the stories behind them as well. There's always something behind it, and like you said, like you said, the ones that have done best who just come to you like that, and you're like, let's roll with it.
It's really frustrating. That's the most frustrating part. It's always the ones that I feel like, I love this record. And it's kind of like, and then the one that I'm just like, whatever. Everyone's like, mate, that's sick.
So funny. It's so funny how it works. Sick, mate. What's next for you then? What's you got planned the rest of the year? And then going into next year, you said you're going back to that like more clubby sound. What have you got for the rest of the year?
I'm just experimenting with a lot of stuff that I'm doing. Just because I really want to come with more of what I was doing when I first started, kind of thing. More of like the roots and just going back to not necessarily keeping it simple, but fundamental, like concentrating on the fundamentals of the track rather than everything else that
goes into it. And you're like, this has to sound like this or this. You just like go in there, make what you want to make. Yeah. What about shows? Is this the back end of the year? Have you got any more shows coming up?
Yeah, I've got a few Halloween things going on, Boxing Day, New Year's and all of that. So and apart from that, just in the studios, working on loads of music. Working on a few other projects as well with different artists for their projects, which are really, really exciting as well.
That's something you enjoy, like the collaboration?
Well, the thing is now is it's like you can take someone with a massive social media profile and say, hey, do you want to make music?
Yeah.
And then you can go to a major label and say, hey, I'm making the music for him. And he's got 2 million followers. And then they go, oh, okay, cool.
That's a win. That's a win.
So I'm doing some of that stuff with friends and people that I know to help them, and just I really enjoy it too.
Sick. And the weekly Kiss FM show, every week. Is it Thursdays? Saturdays?
Thursdays, 9 to 11.
Thursdays 9 to 11. And then you got a new track which will be out by the time this comes out. What is it?
Molly on Lee Foss's label, South of Saturn.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, which I'm really proud to have got on and stuff. And I used the same kind of vocal like 10 years ago.
All right.
So to bring out a brand new version, it's almost like I've already kind of started to go back to draw inspiration from what I'm doing now. So
mate, buzzing to hear it. Thank you so much for coming and seeing us.
Yeah, no worries, man.
Amazing to have you in here. Like, thanks for putting out all the bangers over the years, helping my DJ sets out no end. And we're looking forward to a new tune and seeing what you do next year. Come back next year, mate. And we'll
sick.
Catch up. Right, nice one. Thank you so much.